In tonight's headlines, Hong Kong's top court overturns the acquittal of activist Chow Hang-tung on a charge of inciting others to attend a banned rally. Chief Executive John Lee will head special teams to explain Article 23 to the public. And 12 people are arrested after a fire kills 39 people in Jiangxi province.
A five-judge panel in Hong Kong's highest court has overturned the acquittal of activist Chow Hang-tung of inciting others to join a banned June 4 vigil in 2021. The former vice chairwoman of the now disbanded Hong Kong Alliance was sentenced to 15 months in jail in 2022. She appealed and won, but the government applied to reverse the High Court decision. The Court of Final Appeal today ruled in favor of the prosecution. Chief Justice Andrew Cheung said the validity of a ban on the assembly was not an essential element of Chow's offense. Cheung added the authority of a prohibition order would be weakened if its validity could be questioned in court. Judge Johnson Lam said the only avenue to challenge the ban is through a judicial review. He added that Chow was not deprived of that opportunity, but Judge Roberto Ribeiro, who also approved the government's appeal, said the activists could challenge the legality of the prohibition. He said Chow was unsuccessful in her argument that the right to peaceful assembly was restricted because in issuing the ban, police had to balance the risks from COVID and the right to assemble. The five judges unanimously approved the government's appeal to overturn Chow's acquittal. The activist, who has been remanded for the past 3 years, remains behind bars because she faces another national security charge. Maisie Mock, Cable News.
The chief executive says he will head special teams to explain Article 23, which will be implemented this year. In a question and answer session, lawmakers expressed concerns in the run-up to Article 23, such as whether the government will ensure investor confidence. Lee said officials and experts will explain provisions of the law to various sectors, including business and overseas. While he pledged to begin legislative work on a new national security law as soon as possible, the chief executive did not provide a specific date on consultations. Lawmakers also inquired about plans for a mega-event economy. Paul Tse asked if the government is only focusing on mainland tourists.
The general atmosphere and people's sentiment will directly affect whether a mega event will be successful. It seems that the government is getting closer to mainland visitors who don't pay tax but distancing themselves from taxpayers in Hong Kong. People feel tense and alienated. It seems that the government's focus is put in the wrong place.
Lee rejected Tse's opinion and warned him to phrase his words carefully.
If we go along the wrong path and form the wrong idea, that is not something we want to see. If instead we spread negative vibes and erroneous messages, then we should speak out against them. I have heard some rather dangerous terms used. It brings to mind what happened in 2019.
To boost tourism, legislators suggested inviting superstars such as Beyoncé and Taylor Swift. Janice Yu, Cable News.
The Journalists Association has been told to pay about $400,000 in profits tax. The Inland Revenue Department told the city's biggest union for journalists that the tax for the 2017-18 financial year was based on the amount it had in bank deposits. Taxes for the following years may also be imposed.
I feel quite shocked about the claimings. For the short period, it seems that we can still run smoothly. But, this is the first time that they raised this request. If lastly that we may charge more than $1 million tax to pay, that it must have some quite large extent to affect our operation.
Chan said the association is a labor union and its revenue comes from selling souvenirs and its annual fundraising dinners. As such, he said it's unreasonable for the government to impose a tax based on its bank deposits. The association will file an objection.
Municipal government officials observed a moment of silence at the start of the press conference this morning. With a population of 1 million, the small city of Xinyu in southeastern Jiangxi province shot into the national spotlight after a devastating fire took the lives of 39 people. Footage filmed at the scene showed people escaping from a window on the first floor of a building and jumping onto a mattress below. Others escaped through a ladder as thick smoke billowed from above. According to satellite photographs, the blocks of residential buildings sit atop a podium of shops and restaurants. It is believed the blaze broke out in the basement at around 3:30 p.m. yesterday. Customers of 2 internet cafes on the ground floor were able to evacuate. But students inside a tutorial center on the first floor were not so lucky. They made up most of the 39 fatalities. Mayor Xu Hong said initial investigations suggested the fire was caused by unauthorized renovation inside a cold storage in the basement, and the flames spread quickly due to the accumulation of fitting out materials. 12 people were arrested following the fire. The tragedy came days after a fire in a school dormitory in Henan province claimed the lives of 13 young students. In a statement read out on state television, President Xi Jinping instructed relevant departments to curb the frequent occurrence of various accidents and ensure people's safety. Framing Cable News.
A mystery continues one day after a Russian military transport plane crashed, killing all 74 people on board. The plane had taken off from an airbase in Moscow and was reportedly carrying 65 Ukrainian prisoners of war and a 9-member crew when it crashed near the Russian city of Belgorod, close to Ukraine. Russian Defense Ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov accused Ukraine of firing an anti-aircraft missile as the plane was flying to a border checkpoint for a prisoner exchange. Ukraine did not confirm or deny that it hit the Russian plane, but President Volodymyr Zelensky has demanded an international inquiry. The Ukrainian military said it was Moscow's practice to inform Kyiv about the route to be used for a prisoner swap, but failed to do so yesterday. It added that Kyiv will continue to target Russian aircraft suspected of trying to attack Ukraine. As both sides blamed each other, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov called for a meeting of the United Nations Security Council. He said Ukraine was aware of the prisoner exchange and should explain why the plane was shot down. Sachin Katwi, Cable News.
Hong Kong stocks rallied for the third straight day as investors expressed confidence in China's initiatives to boost the economy. The Hang Seng Index, which gained 6.3% on Tuesday and yesterday, closed 2% higher today. Turnover remained high at $132 billion. investors favored tech stocks, with Tencent jumping 3.2%. JD.com was up 3.4%, while Alibaba rose 1%.
Hong Kong's exports last year dropped by 7.8% from 2022 to $4.2 trillion. Imports also decreased, falling 5.7% to $4.6 trillion. Last year's trade deficit widened to $468 billion. For December, exports remained about the same as in the previous month at $386 billion. Imports picked up by 7.7% from November to $446 billion. The government says geopolitical tensions and slowing global growth will affect Hong Kong exports in the near term.